Good evening, everyone. I say evening because I assume you're listening to it on the evening. The idea of someone listening to this sober is frankly depressing. This is literally Loitering, part of the Geek Show podcast network. We are the Geek Show's dedicated arts, books, and culture podcast. I'm Graham, and this week I've been joined by Andrew.
Hello.
Rob.
Who's always sober, most definitely.
And Sarah.
Hello.
The old ARS squad.
You did that on purpose, didn't you?
I certainly did.
Now we need an Edward. Or an Ellen. Let's see if Ellen wants to join us.
Yeah, she's probably got nothing else on. So, yes, we normally start off with a bit of news from the world of literature and culture, and this week we have one of our seasonal favourites, I think it would be fair to say. It's Diagram Prize time.
Oh, yeah.
So the Diagram Prize, in case any listeners are unaware of what it is a prize launched by the Bookseller magazine in 1978 for the year's strangest book title. And I think we all have our favourites from the past, don't we?
Oh, God, yes. The one that everyone...
A bit of How to Avoid Huge Ships.
I was about to say,
yes.
that's the one that everybody knows. But one of my personal favourites is still, even now, The Big Book of Lesbian Horse Stories.
I quite like that one about Italian postboxes.
Greek Rural Postmen and their cancellation numbers.
That's the fella.
Yep.
I'm still very angry after, I can't remember whether it was last year or the year before, there was a book called Nipples on My Knee that
was
tragically...
the one that was the one that didn't win.
It didn't win.
Yeah, Too Naked for the Nazis won, didn't it, that year?
I think that was it.
And then we got reprimanded by the author of Too Naked for the Nazis because we hadn't read the book, we didn't know anything about it, we just speculated on what it might be about, and then the author tweeted us and said, nope, that's not it entirely.
It's still the nearest thing we've had to a celebrity guest star, isn't it?
Fair play. What did he say then? Did he...
He explained it was all about...
Just general...
it was all about burlesque or something like that during wartime.
It did sound really good, actually.
What was the title again?
Too Naked for the Nazis.
Oh, cool.
And we have a successor to it here in a book by Zana Eve Chown with her 2019 Diagram Prize entry, Noah Gets Naked, Bible Stories They Didn't Teach You at Sunday School.
Oh, God. Oh, wow.
I'd love to see this book.
Do tell us what this is all about, Graham.
I mean, I assume there's a clue in the title.
Have you not got a look inside pointer?
I mean, I think the problem is that Noah very much has a look inside pointer.
True, there is a part of the Bible where upon surviving the flood, once the ark comes to rest, Noah gets really drunk, ends up lying outside naked like he's on a stag weekend, and his son Ham comes and laughs at his dong.
Hang on.
Really?
Noah has a son called Ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
Shem,
another son?
Ham, and Japheth?
Ham, of course, famously went on to invent the radio.
And also a certain type of sliced meat.
Became father to the Tory
was the ham.
Oh, wow.
That was his punishment.
And here are Ham's two children, Honey and Roast. We're all going to hell, aren't we?
Essentially, yes. Other entrants include Hitler's Monsters, A Supernatural History of the Third Reich by Eric Kurlander, Catherine Donnelly's Ending the War on Artisan Cheese.
What?
Of course, Hitler's greatest nemesis.
Oh, now we know what to get you for Christmas, Graham.
There's Fiona Beckett's How to Drink Without Drinking.
Yes, that most technical of achievements.
I mean, I don't know how to do it.
I mean, that's just an IV drip.
think that's what they mean by a drink problem.
Yes. There's Anne Peterson and Soren M. Sindbeck with Viking Encounters, Proceedings of the 18th Viking Congress.
Oh, cool. I must have missed that one in the papers.
Well, that's why they published the minutes.
They translated it from the runes.
And and finally, I think maybe it's not the front runner. Maybe I prefer Ending the War on Artisan Cheese, but I think this might be our mutual favourite. Charles L. Dobbins' masterpiece, The Dirt Hole and Its Variations.
This is a Catholic treatise.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think that gains extra points for being written by a man named Charles L. Dobbins.
Oh.
It's good that he's bounced back after his years as a house elf.
That's right up there with, what was it, a couple of years ago, the title was Strangers Have the Best Candy.
I don't remember that, but...
Yeah.
But it's just perfectly 50s sitcom, though, who's been messing with the dirt hole? Dobbins!
Shakes fist.
I was literally shaking my fist as I said that.
Last year's winner was pretty good. The Joy of Water Boiling.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. The bookseller's divist Horace Bent has some thoughts on the shortlist, saying, I am particularly pleased to see Ending the War on Artisan Cheese on the list, as I have seen what destruction the conflict has wrought, disfigured Hebridean blues, pulverised gubbins and orphaned wheels of Cornish kern.
Oh, is that where the tradition of chasing a wheel of cheese down a hill came from?
Maybe it is part of a military exercise.
Or it was post-war, save the cheese, save yourself.
Yes, it's actually a tradition ranging back to the medieval times when men would often follow their cheeses into combat.
Oh God, maybe maybe that's what heroes did wrong. It wasn't save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yes, that was the only thing that went wrong with heroes.
Hey, it might have been much better if there was a cheese in the lead role.
Of course, in the classical world, generals always led with their cheese from the front.
I've got to admit, though, Hitler's Monsters, a history of, Nazi occultism, I'm super interested in.
I am as well. I want to read it.
It sounds worryingly like an actual book that you'd read, doesn't it?
Yes.
It does have a sort of a compulsive nature to it. Like, you do feel very drawn to it. I'm sure it'll be on the History Channel in time, though.
Yeah.
Jamie Theakston investigating it.
Thing is, it sounds like something the History Channel had put on after midnight.
No, that's why Hitler was actually 3 aliens in a trench coat.
So yeah, exciting times. I think I'm backing Ending the War on Artisan Cheese, I must say. Dirt hole variations, that's strong stuff, but sometimes you just have to bow to a classic diagram prize title.
Definitely. I mean, if it went on to inspire Picasso's Guernica, then... See what I did there?
Yes, we did.
So this week, once I'd got over the excitement of the diagram prize, which, as you'd imagine, it takes a while.
Couple of days.
Yeah, rehab, basically. Where I learned to drink without drinking.
It's not long till the Bad Sex Award, though.
Oh, when is that? January?
Yes, it is. No, it's only pre-Christmas, isn't it?
Is it pre-Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's our Christmas present to ourselves.
I thought Bad Sex could be sort of relegated to January. It seems like a good time for it in general.
Hey, it's always a good time for bad sex.
I think they do it before Christmas, just in time for all those dodgy office parties.
The kind of literary contraceptive.
Oh, that's just Morrissey in general.
But yes, other than that, this week did see quite a lot of news about children's books, which I thought was odd. There was the news that Britain has fielded a record number of entries into the Astrid Lindgren Memorial Award, the world's most prestigious children's book award. But then I thought, it sounds a bit too much like straightforward good news. I don't know if that's our place.
Mm.
Yeah, we do need some kind of terrible, terrible twist.
Preferably involving some sort of Trump statue.
Yes. Which was the point at which I found a new children's book from Britain, so this could be up for the Astrid Lindbergh Award before you know it, which is designed as a non-partisan way for parents to explain to their children what is going on with Brexit.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, gosh.
Well, no, surely parents don't need to explain what's going on with Brexit, because it happened on October the 31st.
Is it called Alice Lives with Boris and Jean-Claude?
Wow.
Magnificent. It's called I Want to Leave the Book. I think it's good and meta. According to The Independent, it was created after research revealed that 32% of British parents could not explain Brexit to their children. I'm kind of astonished that 2/3 of parents can.
Yeah, considering 100% of politicians can't.
Well, didn't you know Brexit means Brexit?
You'd think that would make the book quite short, wouldn't you?
I still don't know what it actually is.
No one does. It's fine. It's just an incoherent barrel of emotions designed to paralyse the workings of the country for the rest of our natural life.
But, I mean, they say, we're leaving Europe, and my first thought was, hang on, are we going to split our landmass off from the European landmass and be towed over towards America so that we become an island of America?
Basically.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
In a nutshell.
Because if that's the case, I'm fine with it. You know, I've always wanted to spend my retirement in, like, Florida or something like that, like all those Americans do.
They have the death penalty in Florida.
Rob would become a Florida man.
Excellent.
Admit it, Rob, it's your destiny.
I'm going to wear those weird shorts that are, like, halfway between shorts and actual trousers.
Yes. But yes, this is a book by Richard David Lawman. He's a lawman. And it was published on the 31st of October, the date when nothing happened.
Is he the last honest lawman in Europe?
Its non-partisan credentials are kind of eroded by which animals he has chosen to represent some of our great leaders. Boris Johnson is a Highland cow, which I think people in Scotland will have complaints over.
Mm-hmm.
Theresa May is depicted as a hamster. Okay, well.
You don't know whether she... Oh, no, I can't say that. No.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of a way to get it in, so to speak.
Oh, no. I actually horrified myself with that thought, and then I had to stop. I'm just going to leave now.
Well, that's what the book's about. The real eyebrow raiser is the choice of animal chosen to represent David Cameron, which I'm delighted to report is a pig.
Of course it is.
Oh,
Most appropriate.
It couldn't really be anything else, could it?
No, it couldn't. No. Perfect choice.
Imagine for a second going back 10 years in time and meeting your younger self and saying to them, well, where I'm from, there's been a bit of a problem with the EU, with Britain's attempt to leave the EU. Someone's published a children's book that seems to be alluding to the fact that David Cameron had sex with a dead pig's head. Imagine what yourself 10 years ago would make of that.
I'm not even worried about that. I just keep thinking, when he left his daughter in the pub, maybe it's because she asked the wrong questions.
maybe, Cameron wanted to leave the pub, his daughter wanted to remain in the pub, and they compromise. I should say, I don't want to sort of fit this story in anywhere else, but while we're on the subject of both children's books and politics, I did find something that delighted me. I was searching around and I found a book about Virginia libraries in schools that parents had complained the books in them were too sexually explicit. And it was from a site called the Daily Signal, which it turns out is funded by the Heritage Foundation, which is one of those right-wing American Christian conservative think tanks that funds a lot of religious rights stuff. And in this country, actually funds trans-exclusionary feminists. They are literal astroturfs.
Unbelievable.
So I don't want
that joke, though.
I don't want to signal boost this too much because it's written by people who are evil, but I am interested by the contributor's biography, which is the most blandly meaningless thing ever to give me complete chills. Anna Anderson is the Director of Family Policy at the American Principles Project Foundation, a non-profit think tank dedicated to advancing human dignity through public policy.
What?
If I was Simon Wiesenthal, and I've thought about it often, if I was Simon Wiesenthal and I was looking for fugitive Nazis, I wouldn't go around the jungles of Uruguay looking for mysterious German doctors. I would just find places called something like the Centre for Progressive Government Policy Progress and think, all right, what are you really up to?
That's why I said what? I mean, why? What? Progressive Policy Progress? What?
Just to
PPP.
Just to rehash this, the American Principles Project Foundation, four perfectly valid words that do not work in that order.
They are four great tastes that do not taste great together.
It's quite an oxymoron to begin with. Christian right-wing think tank. Yeah, it's some kind of newspeak thing, isn't it? Mm.
It's just like any time you're watching Question Time, firstly, don't. But if you must, at any time someone's introduced as coming from the Phobos Foundation, a group dedicated to the advancement of advancing government public policy procedure thought. It's like, all right, you are a lunatic.
Yeah, you've just chucked words into a hat there and pulled out a link of words.
It's basically, what's the most nonsense way we can say institute for complaining about people who aren't like us?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just like a massive bin for all of those people who clog up first-year politics degrees and just sit around going, oh, if the working class are having nutritional problems, I suggest we pay them in carrots. And
and here's your lecturer for this course, Marie Antoinette.
Yes.
What if that's what we do? What if, we build some kind of structure and label it the marketplace of ideas, but actually it's just a big old sack? And then once everyone walks in, we just tie it up.
Dump it in the North Sea.
I was just going to hang it from a very large rope and let them just kind of complain and mule and then let people hit them with sticks.
That would be chilling. Imagine walking on your own on a cold, wintry night and suddenly from within the skeletal trees you hear Brendan O'Neill going, but the crisis of democracy at the moment is between the elites.
Oh, God, that's an alien encounter I don't want. Close Encounters of the boring kind.
Do you think that's it? Do you think that's how Brexit works? Is once we've just jettisoned all the gammons, England will kind of float off into the sky.
Oh.
But closing the children's book segment on some actual wholesome news, something which I was a huge fan of growing up has been modernised a little bit. Asterix has the first female protagonist in its 60-year history. She's called Adrenaline. She is the protagonist of Asterix and the Chieftain's Daughter. Apparently, the story concerns Asterix and Obelix being sent to look after her when there were threats against her father and finding her more of a handful than was expected. The authors John Yves Ferry and Didier Conrad, who were chosen to continue the series by the original writer and cartoonist René Goscinny and Albert Uzzerdo, have said that they weren't thinking of Greta Thunberg when they created her, but happy with the comparison.
Oh, I think I have to read this now.
Oh, that's kind of great.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Also, I really love the name Didier.
Yes. It's
super cool, Didier.
Oh, it's the Frenchest surname. It's just like a jazz hi-hat going on.
Yeah. I have to admit, I've always loved Asterix comics.
Me too.
Yeah, they always had a really good sense of humour.
I mean, just the naming that they have for them. The chief is called Vital Statistics.
Yes.
What was it? The bard was called Cacophonix. The druid with the magic potion is called Getafix.
Getafix.
Yeah. With his massive moustache.
There's one for the jokes you don't get until you're much older.
Exactly.
Category.
It's great because there was so many little things in there that you just didn't get until you were older.
Yeah.
Like the old man with the really hot young wife.
Yeah, I'm mostly just impressed by anyone who can get like a 60-year franchise out of jokes about menhers.
Exactly.
Fair dues. That's a great word.
I think it was Asterix in Corsica had that. Had that joke about the wild boars, where Asterix and Obelix meet the Corsican resistance against the Romans, and all he hears, Obelix is hearing oink in the forest, and then all these Corsicans come walking into the cave for this resistance meeting.
Is it David Cameron?
No, sadly no. But then there's an oink at the end. He goes, "Is that another resistance member?" He goes, "No, that's just a wild boar." And because every time Obelix hears an oink, he wants to run into the forest and kill the wild boar and eat it.
He was the original 30 to 50 feral hogs guy.
Yes, he was.
It's been years since I've read Asterix. I should go back and reread some of them because, like I say, it was very dear to me when I was young.
It holds up. The humour really holds up.
Yeah. Well, gone over a bit of meaningless jargon from the world of politics, but I think, you know, when you're looking for the creme de la creme of jargon, the Rolls Royce of meaningless bullshit, you need to go into tech, right?
Well, let's not rule out religion.
Engage content nodes.
Let's not rule out religion, please.
Yeah, fair enough.
Good point.
Yes, Michael Hobbs, a Huffington Post reporter on Twitter, has found a remarkable German startup pitch which has already raised $35 million, and no wonder, because it is a thing literally nobody needs. It's called Blinkist.
Is this something...
Is that with a Q?
No.
Is this something to help people with tired eyes?
It kind of is. According to their official Twitter account, it will transform the way we read. It says US venture capitals are convinced Blinkist will radically change the world. Big talk. Let's see how they follow it up.
When they say radically change the world...
Yes, they did.
See, I'm always a bit worried when people make such sweeping statements. Because for me, radically changing the world is something along the lines of, you know, we've created this new type of wheel that hovers instead of rolls.
Yeah.
Or nuclear winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apocalypse.
Apocalypse. That's also radically. Oh my God, Blinkist is it the harbinger of the apocalypse?
Well, it is going to turn everything on its head, because, I mean, listen to their pitch. The Blinkist app highlights key insights from the world's best non-fiction books in just 15 minutes. With Blinkist, users can read or listen to over 3,000 and counting titles from the world's smartest minds and start introducing positive change to their lives straight away. Or, as Michael Hobbs has put it, congratulations to this startup for inventing the book report.
Oh, wow. You know those 10-second videos that you see Will Smith and Kevin Hart and the rest of those celebrities do about the power of positivity? You know, be positive because you can do it. You can do it, so just do it. Mm-hmm. You know, those sorts of videos that they put out on like Instagram or Snapchat or whatever.
Yeah.
It's basically those, isn't it?
It's like the visual equivalent.
Yeah, it's like the reading equivalent, I'd say, of those.
I mean, it's like, if you've read any of those sort of business motivation type books or anything like that, they do have a fair point, because there's loads and loads of fannying about, just like filling in one paragraph where one sentence would easily do. And all you need is the bullet points. Most people work with bullet points anyway. You don't need to like consume a whole book. Just reduce it to the bullet points. I think they've got a success on their hands here.
Yeah, but only with regards to, say, those books where... Because you are right, most of those business books can literally just be reduced to a set of bullet points, and they probably sell more.
Yeah.
I mean, most of, especially the rags to riches ones, can just be boiled down to their parents gave them £100,000.
Yeah, there's a hole named after them, pretty much sorted for money.
Yeah. And the Donald Trump success story. My dad gave me $1 million to start my own company.
I have mentioned this before on this show, but one of my favourite moments in what perhaps my favourite novel, The Man Without Qualities by Robert Musil, comes when the Major in that book takes a look around a library and declares it woefully inefficient. He says, there's thousands of books here. What you need is one book that has all of the key insights from all of those books. Blinkist is that, except it's not even the Austrian National Library they're going to digitise. It's like the smart thinking section of Waterstones, which is the most accursed thing I can think of.
See, again, I'm always worried when people label things as smart thinking.
Yes, it's such a hostage to fortune, because you only have to find one book by a total div, and the whole premise crumbles.
I've just had a thought, Sarah. The best business book in the world. It's just waiting for us to write it. How to Waffle with the Best.
Definitely. You make a start. I think, bearing in mind this is the end of times, and if you condense because it is, if you condense all of these business books into snappy epithets and just general headings, bullet points, and put them all in one book, do we think that is the remnants of civilization? And further, do we think that the Bible is that, but from a previous incarnation of Earth?
I'm starting to wonder if this is the final seal of the apocalypse.
I'll tell you something. If this Blinkist thing was out, the Book of Eli would have been a much shorter film.
Was not expecting a Book of Eli reference.
That's a different film, just with Denzel Washington's dying breath. He says Jesus and stuff in it.
Yeah.
I suppose I'm kind of okay with Blinkist now I've realised it's a device to make Malcolm Gladwell unemployed.
Unless he's employed
You really don't like him, do you?
I detest him.
Unless he's employed by Blinkist.
It's quite possible. That's where he's cribbing all of this stuff from. The internet has not just found ways to ruin books, though. There is an Instagram account profiled in Dazed and Confused's website called Send Books, where the O's are zeros because I guess Send Books was taken. But it started off as a way for Gemma Janes, its owner, to simply show off the second-hand books that she got, which is fine. I would enjoy looking at that.
Yes, absolutely. With her so far.
Yeah. And as the time went on, she started to get more and more requests saying, where can I find a copy of this? Now, with second-hand books, obviously, sometimes being quite rare, sometimes being out of print, that's difficult. So Send Books now literally sends books. It sends books out to anyone who is particularly interested in the content she posts on her Instagram.
Cool.
Is it books they ask for?
Philanthropic type thing? She's not a bookshop?
She's not she is described as an online library. According to the article, with all of the books on the account up for sale, you can also sign up to become a reader, a scheme which allows followers to sign up to receive a different selected book each month. They've used sign up twice in the same sentence, but I guess nobody online has any proofreaders now.
So, hang on. It's not very flattering to describe somebody as an online library.
I mean, it's basically my Tinder profile. It looks rather lovely. I have to say the books she chooses do tend slightly towards those kind of 70s attempts to sell serious literature with soft porny covers.
Yeah, I saw the picture from that and I was like, okay.
I mean, they're good books. There's Joan Didion, Ian McEwan, and old good Ian McEwan at that. There's Colette.
So I've seen Colette, yeah. I'm just looking at the Instagram account too. It's a pretty looking account.
Yeah.
A nice nin. Checker.
Let's have a look-see. No, I don't want to send books to Kindle.
Technology lets us down already.
Damn it, Google, what is the point of spying on me at all hours if you're not going to make things easy for me?
I think she has an eye for choosing a very attractive edition. And I feel like they are curated and they do have a 70s vibe. Yeah, definitely. Rambo.
That's the
I'm staring at a
French
picture of a
poet,
woman
not
now.
It is, yeah.
Not Stallone.
Not so much.
She's got
Below my journey.
She's got a copy of Herman Hesse's Steppenwolf.
Nice. I love Hess.
Right.
I must read some Hess.
I'm going to lose myself in this Instagram if I keep looking at it.
I've done it, everyone. I've cracked this. I'm in.
I remember doing my A-levels and there's I'm just looking at here some Albert Camus editions as well, and I remember when I was doing my A-levels there was a girl who said that she was quite into Albert Campus. I was like, how into him are you exactly? Yeah, I'm just going to carry on looking at this.
Yeah. You see what I mean?
But I don't want to log in Instagram.
This might be one of those stories where we have to do the equivalent of leaving it running in the background.
Yeah.
Just walk away. Walk away.
Penguins with jumpers, but it's like the jumpers are penguin covers of penguin books.
Just walk away now, Sarah. Walk away.
That's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Just leave now, Sarah. It's gonna be all right. You can just walk away.
Send
I mean,
books.
quite frankly, there's not even a single Captain Underpants book on there, so I'm disappointed.
Yes. So moving on from Gemma Janes's library, we have William Shakespeare's library, which Stuart Kells has spent 20 years tracking down.
Why? I mean, he probably doesn't have any Captain Underpants books either.
Although it would be hilarious if there was a Shakespearean equivalent to Captain Underpants.
Yeah, you know when people who think that Shakespeare's plays were all written by Francis Bacon or the Earl of Oxford or
Yeah.
Oh, Elizabeth I.
yeah, you know when they're wrongly allowed to talk.
Uh-huh.
One of the pieces of evidence they use is, Shakespeare didn't keep his house in a way that you would expect from a man of letters. He didn't have any books.
He wasn't
So, like
made of lettuce either.
Who's a man of lettuce?
So, like I say, Stuart Kells has spent 20 years tracking down all of Shakespeare's books, and he still isn't finished yet because he had so many. Not saying that, the authorship question theorists have researched this badly, but they have. That is obviously what has happened.
I have a question, sir.
Mm?
How do they know it was a book owned by Shakespeare? Did he do what those 5-year-olds do and put, this book belongs to William Shakespeare, aged 42 and a half?
See,
If found, please return to Big Willie Shakes.
See, after his death, the library was broken up and sold off to various people, and there is therefore a paper trail explaining what was sold to people in the region. It's not a complete paper trail.
I was going to say, we live in England, it'd be a bit soggy by now, wouldn't it?
Yes. It's not like cast iron. Like I say, this has took this guy 2 decades, but I would say that if someone around Stratford upon Avon has a copy of Pyramus and Thisbe, the ancient legend that Shakespeare took the mick out of in A Midsummer Night's Dream, that has Shakespeare's dad's initials written in the front.
It's a pretty big clue.
Yep.
So what was Shakespeare's dad's initials again?
I.S. Do you want to have a guess, or shall I...
Wait.
Ian.
Ian, yes, Ian Shakespeare.
Either, no.
No, the answer, obviously, is Johannes.
All right.
This was like the SF confusion. This is in the days before they'd worked out how to use letters.
See, when you said IS, my brain went in a completely different direction.
Shakespeare's dad was the founder of ISIS. Donald Trump was right.
Well, see, there you go. See, I was starting to think that our version of the National Treasure films was going to be a bit dull. But there's the hook.
Yes, Kells leaves by saying, I couldn't stop looking for the library if I wanted to, which is a good job, because he's been doing it for 20 years and he hasn't found it all yet.
So, is he like the real-world version of Nicolas Cage? Because we really don't need another real-world version of Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage is enough, you're right.
What if he really is Nicolas Cage in disguise?
Oh, God, he took National Treasure too seriously.
What if we're all Nicolas Cage?
I think on some level we are.
I wouldn't put it past him.
So what have we got to wrap up? We've got quiz. Did you say you had a book read, Sarah?
I've read a book.
Do you want to
Shall
talk
we
about
go
your
to
book
that
first? Yeah?
Yeah, can do. Okay, so the book I have read, and I've totally read it all from cover to cover, in maybe an hour, if that. And it is Greta Thunberg, No One Is Too Small to Make a Difference.
Ah, yes. Asterix is busy protecting her. Yes, I know her.
Yes. So there was a climate change day at our local art centre yesterday, and I picked up this little book that was on sale there. And it is a compilation of her speeches to various people, and she's spoken at many places, including our Parliament and the UN, and other places where she's basically stood in front of a bunch of adults and told them off. And she's just a little genius. So a lot of the times she's covers very similar things in the speech because it's such as the fact that it is an emergency, that you shouldn't be talking about lowering emissions, you need to be talking about stopping emissions, and the fact that you've only got until 2030 to sort it all out before it's irreparably damaged. And she surprisingly says that, I know that world leaders don't like to panic and spread alarm, but she says that panic is actually very important because it motivates people to take faster action. And you wouldn't stay in a house that was on fire without a certain amount of panic propelling you to get everybody out and call the emergency services. She makes some very good points in the book, especially the same sort of themes as you would expect from a climate change activist, sort of the urgency of things, the need to change things very quickly. Are they the same thing, actually? But anyway, and her thinking, she says, is in black and white. She talks about her Asperger's and the fact that this is the thing that is going to go wrong. This is the solution to the thing that is going to go wrong. Then why not just do the solution and stop messing about? Her logic forbids her to understand why we would do such a thing, and affect the forthcoming generations, if there are to be any. So I can highly recommend it. It's Greta Thunberg. It's No One Is Too Small to Make a Difference. It's a short book. It is, 68 pages, and it is published by Penguin.
Nice.
Cool. I like Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, me too.
She's awesome. Cool.
I like her attitude.
She's going to be one of the figures we memorialise in the wastelands.
Yep.
I've technically been reading a book as well. Which, I've read 15 pages of a book and then thought, actually, I've just come in from the gym. I'm very tired. Why am I doing this?
Oh, so are you ready for your quiz?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, well.
As a working class person, I've just got a pile of carrots to get through, but apart from that, yes, totally ready.
Oh, did you want to talk about your book, Andrew?
I mean, I was going to at least mention the name of it. There's going to be a whole funny bit where I talk about how we're usually a bit behind the times on Lit Light, but this time I've been reading a up-and-coming It's Dracula. So basically, listeners just fill in your own joke there. Probably would have been really funny.
At least you mentioned Dracula, actually, because this week The Guardian had a piece on horror authors talking about the books that scared them. And it emerges, and this is another fill-in-your-own punchline moment, Anne Rice is still too scared to finish Dracula.
Probably explains a lot about her vampires, then, that she hasn't read Dracula.
Well, thanks for those vampire recommendations.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That was awful. That was truly awful.
It's very poor qualification.
Yeah. If anything, I would say it sucked.
That pun is a major driver of global emissions.
Uh,
I guess the stakes were too high.
Speaking of stakes. So, your quiz for today involves food. I want you to decide, true or false, is this an actual real person, a real historical famous person of some sort, or not? Now, all of these people,
Rob didn't exist.
All of these people have food in their name.
Okay.
I'll start you off with an easy one. Alec Guinness.
Ah, well, yes. Genuine class.
Yep.
Yeah, he was real.
Okay. Alexandra Gatto.
Oh, is that E-U-E-A-U at the end?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, quite frankly, it's too cool a name for me to not want it to be real, so I'm going to say true.
I think it's true.
I also would say true.
It's actually not.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's actually a type of cake named after Alexandra of Denmark.
Well done.
It's more commonly known by Gatto Alexandra.
Okay, fine, but I'm taking the name from my food-themed noir mystery series.
Well, another one for your food-themed mystery series, Duke Alexis Lobster.
I mean, we've been burned thinking
Yeah.
that ridiculous facts about lobsters must surely be false on this show before, haven't we? With Gerard de Nerval walking his pet lobster. Nevertheless, I am sticking my neck out and saying that this person does not exist.
I
Okay.
think they do.
You think they do?
I won't allow him to be real. I deny him. Get thee back to the pit, Duke Lobster.
Yeah, get back in the pot.
Okay, well, well done, Andrew and Graham.
Ah!
Yeah, it is. It's more commonly known as Lobster Duke Alexis, and it's named after Grand Duke Alexis. It was created in Russia in 1871.
Oh,
So
man! I got stung by the same thing twice.
Is this whole quiz just based on assuming that we do not have particularly sophisticated taste in food? Because I'm telling you now, it's going to work.
Basically, yeah. Arnold Bennett omelette.
Come on! No.
Now, that is false, because I believe there is an omelette at some Parisian hotel named after the novelist Arnold Bennett. Either that or he married a really weird family.
I think that's food, for Graham's reasons.
My gut says false.
Okay.
And also...
Point for all of you. Graham is absolutely correct. It was actually created by the Savoy.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Charles Lamb.
That was a real person. He's an actor.
yes.
That's Larry Lamb, isn't it?
Also an actor. Or was he a playwright? Was he an olden times guy? Like a
I think
1700s guy?
Was Charles Lamb one of Shakespeare's company?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
If only we had Stuart Kelly in his 20 years of Shakespeare bookshelf research on the show.
Was he one of Shakespeare's actors?
Was he what, me?
One of Shakespeare's actors?
I think so, yeah. That's
Mm.
where I think I've heard the name before.
Is he the one who was Gwyneth Paltrow?
So, are you saying he was real or not?
We all think he's real. Well,
I
Andrew,
do.
Andrew, what do you say?
I think he's real. He sounds real to me.
Yes, he's real. He was 1775 to 1834, an English essayist, poet, and antiquarian, best known for his essays of Elia and children's book Tales from Shakespeare.
So there is
so
a
there's a Shakespeare
connection.
link.
Yeah, he
Right.
co-authored it with his sister Mary Lamb. He used to hang out
Mary
with
Lamb.
he used to hang out with Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Robert Southey,
Yeah.
William Wordsworth, and William Hazlitt.
Didn't she have a thing with Byron?
Yep, she did.
Did anybody nod, ladies
And gentlemen, it was
Yes.
Byron.
and gentlemen?
It was Byron. Let's not beat about the
Yeah,
bush, because he
absolutely.
certainly didn't.
Was Mary Lamb's fleece as white as snow?
Not
Not so
after
much,
Byron.
not after meeting Byron.
All right, Charlotte Russe.
Oh, that's a dish. Charlotte Russe.
Is it Russe?
I think it is, isn't it? I don't
Is
know.
this what Electric Light Orchestra is singing in the chorus to Don't Bring Me Down?
Russe.
I'm gonna go against Sarah. I think this is a person.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
why. I just thought the quiz could do with a bit of disagreement.
Andrew?
I mean, I guess that's the pressure off me. I can just say no. Wait, what was it? I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, no.
Real or not?
I mean, Sarah sounded more confident, so I'll say fake.
Okay, so no point for Graham, point for Sarah and Andrew, which puts Andrew 1 point ahead, and
Ooh.
Sarah on even points with Graham. It is actually a dessert invented by the French chef Marie-Antoine Carême.
All right.
Yeah, the more you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, Roger Bacon.
Ah,
I think that's a person, isn't it?
was he a mathematician?
He's not a. I don't think he's the artist.
Or was he that Blue Peter host who had to get sacked because of his notifications?
That's Richard Bacon.
Yes, it is. Regardless, I still think Roger Bacon is a person.
Yeah, I do as well.
Or it's what David Cameron does on his weekends off.
Hey!
See, I don't know if it's like some kind of elaborate double bluff. Because obviously we've got Richard Bacon, Kevin Bacon, Francis Bacon. But then have they just like made up a random bacon to throw you off the scent?
There was a
delicious
police...
scent of bacon.
There was a police chief in the 70s called Sir Ranulph Bacon.
Oh.
I just mentioned that because it's such a great name.
Taking what Rob said before about the structure of these things being reversed, then it would be Bacon Roger or something like that.
Well, it's not necessarily reversed. Charlotte Russe wasn't.
Yeah.
True. I still think it's a person.
God, but I've also got so much to lose. But then again, it's also, this is quite a bad quiz if we all keep agreeing. I'm gonna say it's a big old fat fakey fake and regret it for the rest of my life.
That's a shame. Because Andrew does need to regret it is actually a person. Roger Bacon.
I know, but the content, Rob.
I
have to
know.
do it for the content.
It's all even scores, but here's the most fun thing about Roger Bacon, aside from the fact that he is actually in a video game as well.
Right.
Right.
It does sound fun.
On the Wikipedia page, they've got Roger Bacon, and then they got Latin Rogerus or Rogerius Baconus.
What?
Who has a Latin translation next to the name?
Roger Bacon. He was also known by the scholastic accolade Doctor Mirabilis, and he was a medieval English philosopher and Franciscan friar. He placed considerable emphasis on the study of nature through empiricism, so he was a mathematician as well.
Nice.
Ah.
I hope he got dysentery.
Only if he didn't eat his dandelions.
Yeah. In the early modern era, he was regarded as a wizard and particularly famed for the story of his mechanical or necromantic brazen head.
Oh.
Whoa.
I was briefly happy about him then. I thought, this is kind of like a Culpepper or something, but then it all went dark.
I was not expecting that sentence to end with Roger Bacon's robot head.
Although we do have the episode title now.
Which, point of order, I think you'll find as a robot he doesn't qualify as a person, so technically I'm right.
Okay, Lady Curzon soup.
Ooh. I think that's a meal.
Yeah, that sounds very foodie.
It does sound very foodie, but I'm going to go against and say, no, it's a person.
Okay, well, Andrew and Graham are right again, so they take a 1 point lead. It's turtle soup with sherry named after Lady Curzon, or Mary Victoria Leiter, who was the wife of Lord George Nathaniel Curzon, the Viceroy of India.
It sounds lovely.
Shrimp de Jong.
Oh, surely it's a dish that's named after Erica de Jong or something.
I was going to say, is it Erica Jong's husband? Is
No,
that why she was
De
so
Jong.
satisfied?
Spelled capital D, small e, capital J, O-N-G-H-E. All one together.
Oh,
Shrimp
But
de
what if it
Jong.
was a person, though?
I'd like that. I'd like that enough to throw my point stupidly behind the idea of it being a person.
Don't forget, you have American footballers called Marshawn Walangu or something like that. Okay.
Okay, but anyway, now that I've psychologically destroyed Graham, I'll go for fake.
what was it again?
Shrimp de Jong.
Shrimp de Jong. Oh, I'm going to say food.
So what did you say again, Graham? Food, was it?
No, I think it's real. I love old Shrimpy. Fine fella.
Okay, Andrew takes a 1 point lead.
Of course he does.
I'm in your mind, Graham.
It was a dish created at the De Jong Hotel by the three brothers, Henri, Pierre, and Charles De Jong.
I knew that, but I wanted it to be a person.
It just does sound like a person, doesn't it?
You wanted there to be a man called Shrimp.
Somebody
Yeah.
who lives in the like the Florida swamp or something like that, or
Yeah, definitely lives
or
in
in
the
the
Keys,
deep
doesn't he?
south.
Yeah.
No, I
Always
think
like a 20s gangster.
Yeah, Shrimp de Jong is
Jongs.
definitely a 20s gangster.
Shrimp de Jong sounds like Ivis Apfel's husband or something.
Yes,
Old
some New
fashion
York
play.
icon.
Yeah.
Anna Pavlova.
Was a real person.
Yeah, she was a real person.
Okay.
She had a dish
Ballet
named
dancer,
after her.
wasn't she?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, points all round there. So, nice easy one there. Luther Berger.
Nice. Okay, this is interesting.
Ooh.
Is it a burger created in honor of Idris Elba, or is it a person?
Burger Luther?
Are you Googling this?
No, I promise you I'm not. Otherwise, you'd hear me doing this. I'm not.
I think Luther Burger has a good, solid Teutonic sound. I think that's a person.
Luther Burger. Yes, it does.
Yes.
So, what's
I think
everyone
it's a
saying?
food.
You think it's a food, Sarah? What about you, Andrew?
I think call me Natalie Imbruglia, because I am torn.
Natalie Creme Brulee.
The burger, that is a good name, but is it the Luther Burger? But then again, so I was thinking it could be named after Martin Luther King, but that'd probably be the. But would it be the King Burger? Or is that just copyright infringement? God, there's wheels within wheels. Now go on then, I'll say it's a real person.
Okay, and you're saying it's real as well, Graham, yeah?
I think it's a person, yeah.
Okay, point to Sarah, which makes it even Stevens again.
Oh.
It is actually a hamburger or cheeseburger with one or more glazed donuts in place of the bun. It was allegedly named for and was actually a favourite and possible invention of singer, songwriter and record producer Luther Vandross.
Vandross?
Yes.
Wow. That's because he was big for a while and then he lost a bunch of weight, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was big mainly because of the Luther burgers.
I guess so. He was like the male Oprah during the 80s.
Yeah.
I hope he lost all that weight from dysentery.
Okay, Wilfred Pickles.
Actor.
Real person, don't care.
I think not only do I think he was a real person, I can sort of see him with his lovely little spotty dog. I bet he would have a lovely dog, Wilfred Pickles. I don't know who he is, but I'm having a psychotic break.
I think he was
Would
an
the
English
dog be called
actor.
Cranston?
Yes.
Oh, so yeah, points all round there. He is a real person and an actor. Yep. Okay, Dong Po Pork.
No, absolutely not. As 100% committed to the idea of Wilfred Pickles as a real man, I'm as committed to this not being a person that exists.
Say the name again, Rob.
Dong Po Pork.
We're back to David Cameron again, aren't we?
I wonder if it's like Kung Pao chicken, but it's pork.
I think that's a real person. That's someone from Korea, perhaps.
I think it's a dish.
Andrew, are you committed to it being a dish?
I am, because I cannot accept the alternative.
Okay, it is actually a dish. Andrew and Sarah take the lead. It's named after the poet Sudong Po, who lived from 1037 to 1101. Okay, Louis de Bechamel.
I think this is a person who had a sauce named after him.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that too.
I like it as a name.
Well done. Yep, he is a person. He's the son of Jean-Baptiste Bechamel, and he was a rich tax farmer, whatever that is.
What? What is that?
Exactly. He was a rich tax farmer and superintendent to the house of the Duke of Orleans.
And Parmos wouldn't be the same without his legacy.
Okay, final one for you then. Jesus sausage.
Jesus sausage.
Yes.
Well,
Well, it's actually pronounced Jesus sausage.
Jesus sausage.
I mean, to be honest, that doesn't make it much better.
I think that's a dish.
Yeah,
I
surely
think-
not.
So you think it's a dish, dear?
Yeah.
Fancy, because it is the final question. Part of me does want to be contrarian and go real person, but it's Jesus sausage.
Yes.
Is that really what I want to throw it all away on?
Your contrarianism collapses in the face of the Jesus sausage. Who did some amazing Peel sessions in the 90s.
I say that, what are the scores at the moment?
You and Sarah are 1 point ahead.
Oh, the risk, but the reward. No, you know what? It's the deciding question. Jesus sausage is a goddamn real person, sure. Why not?
So Graham is food, Sarah is food, Andrew is real person. Yep.
Andrew is wrong, yes.
Yes, Andrew is wrong and knows he's wrong.
It's
But
true,
is
Andrew.
committed to the show above all else.
Sarah, congratulations on winning.
Yay!
The Jesus.
Andrew, we thank you for your service.
I hope my sacrifice will be honoured in the coming days.
Just listen.
Build me a memorial next to that of Greta Thunberg's.
The explanation for the Jesus sausage is kind of priceless. Jesus has small sausages of the French Basque and Savoy regions named after him. One version is called the Baby Jesus de Leon.
No. Dear God.
So, Sarah wins.
Fantastic.
Well done, Sarah.
Thanks,
I don't know what your prize
But in a
is.
sense, I feel like we all lost.
That was fun. Oh,
Certainly was.
I enjoyed making that quiz as much as I enjoyed your reactions to it. So, yeah, I think that's us for this week, isn't it?
Certainly, yeah.
Right, okay, so if you want to catch up with any of our previous episodes or indeed any of the other shows on the Geek Show Podcast Network, then you can find them all on our website, which is thegeekshow.co.uk, where you'll also find our Patreon. You'll find video game reviews, movie reviews, and other stuff that will be forthcoming in the upcoming months and indeed next year. If you want to get in touch with us, if you're thinking about getting involved with us, then you can email us studio@thegeekshow.co.uk. If you're listening to us through any podcast service, we are available on all of them, then leave us a rating, leave us a review. It does help us with exposure and it does help us improve. So that's it for us for this week. We'll be back in a fortnight. But until then, I've been Rob.
I've been Graham.
Great. Just sliding in there. No, fine, go ahead.
Sliding in like a Jesus sausage.
Oh.
I mean, you can go ahead as well if you want, Sarah.
I've been Sarah.
And I've been Archibald Calamari. Thank you and good night.